these are. I tell people it's my forte, but you know, I don't know everything.
Bear facts. How long do bears live?
Oh, okay. Well, in the wild, a lot less.
Yeah.
Because they have to deal with man, you know, and I'm not just saying hunters, I'm saying cars, I'm saying, you know, the poisons we put in our trash and you don't secure your trash. But bears can live upwards of 30 plus years in the right environment and or even in a situation where they've been rescued and are in a sanctuary and taken care of. But they're 30 plus year animals.
Okay. Are black bears native to this area, or can you find them in other places?
They're native to this area. North Carolina actually has the densest population of black bears and the largest black bears there is. And that's down at the coast. Actually, Plymouth, North Carolina has the largest in the world. Those boogers get up to 800-900 pounds down there. But they eat year round because all the crops and all. Now, black bears are all over North America. So USA and Canada. But densest population is North Carolina.
How many cubs can a black bear have?
Well, that's a complicated question in a sense. They can have up to 6. I've seen it record. I've never seen that on video or proof, but I've seen some with 5. I've had quite a few here that have done 4 for 2 years in a row. Like they have them every 2 years. And yeah, so I've had 16 cubs just off of 2 mamas in 4 years. But you know, the number of cubs a female will have is dependent on how much food there was the previous fall. Mating season is at the end of spring, beginning of summer, and then it's a delayed implantation. The mother holds the seed, so to speak, and then come fall, depending on how much food is available, that'll be implanted and the blastocyst, and basically, if it's a crappy food year, they could have 0 or 1. If it's a really good food year that fall, then the following spring they're born in January, but you won't see them till spring. They can have 2, 3, 4, 5. It's all food. You know, and a good way to determine that is just to watch your acorns and your hickory nuts, those things, in the fall. And you know, I'm not. Certain areas around here, I'm not seeing a lot of cubs for this coming spring.
Okay.
Cubs were just born like within the past 2 weeks.
Okay.
And they don't weigh no more than a stick of butter.
Oh.
They're tiny, they're blind, they're deaf. They open their eyes in about 6 to 8 weeks, and they got blue eyes at first. That'll slowly change to brown. And they live mostly off their mother's milk, and then, you know, after they get a few months old, they'll see mom eat something or chew on something, then they go chew on that same thing, and that's how they learn what they can and cannot eat.
Okay. So what do bears eat?
They're 80% vegetarian. Another 15% is going to be protein from such like ant larvae, bee larvae, bugs, grubs, things like that. And the other 5% will be wild animal meat, which around here, typically that's going to be a random dead carcass they come up on, or somebody's thrown out some dead fish out of their pond or whatnot. Black bear will, I've seen them get a goat and wild pigs and all, but that's not, it's very rare.
They have to be starving,
Pretty
I guess.
much.
Okay. Do they hibernate?
Yes and no. They go into what's called a state of torpor. Their bodies do slow down, about 8 heartbeats a minute. They don't use the bathroom. That's why in the spring, anybody that's out looking for bears, you find some scat, and it's a certain type. It's really dark and black, but we call that the plug, because it's kind of plugged up their system for that winter. But they can, you got a warm day like today, I wouldn't be shocked if a bear walked through. You know, it just, they don't hibernate what people think of out of Hollywood and the movies and all that. They do go lay down. Now, a mother bear that's having their cubs, she'll stay in the den, you know, pretty much no matter what. But just when you think you know what a black bear's going to do, it'll surprise you. I'm just saying that's why you always learn. It's never stop on the learning with black bears. But she'll have her little cubs, and you know, about the last week of January or so, give or take a week or two. And like I said, they only weigh about the size of a stick of butter, and she'll sit there and clean them, nurse them, keep them warm, keep them dry, use her tongue to massage the belly, which makes them poop. And then the mother will eat the poop, because that's the only thing she'll really eat while they're, until she starts moving them out of the den. And then, you know, at about 10, 12 weeks or so, they'll start moving out of the den and just exploring, and they actually climb trees at that stage better than they can walk. I mean, I've seen them tumble and all that because you know, their coordination's not quite there yet. But they're wonderful to watch, especially when you get to see them in the spring.
You mentioned that some of the bears can get to 800 to 900 pounds. How big do they usually get around here?
You know, 200 to 400 is about what you're averagely going to see, maybe up to 450. I do have a couple up here because of the sanctuary that are around 550, 600, but they've been around a while, big old boys. The males are always bigger than the females, but you know, it just depends on how old it is. You know, I got some big females here too. They've been around a long time. You can tell by their face.
Do bears normally just go and attack humans?
Sorry. Black bears are more scared of you than you are of them. Since the year 1870, there's been 67 fatalities from a black bear in all of North America. Dogs are more dangerous, deer are more dangerous. More people die per year taking a selfie than from black bears. Literally.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And you know, and bears, they communicate with you if you listen. They huff, they puff, they clack their teeth, they'll false charge and stomp the ground. All these are signs, and in a progressively level that I listed them, that they're uncomfortable, and you know, they want you to move
Go
away.
away.
I've had them do that to me so many times it don't even bother me. But when they tell me that, I back up a little bit. Sometimes it can be as little as 10 feet. You just need to back off a little bit, you know, and I've done that many times. It's bears are not something you have to really fear. That's unfortunately that's done by Hollywood and the media, and especially nature documentaries. Nature documentaries will show a black bear roaring and growling. Those sounds are dubbed in. They don't even make those sounds. Those are dubbed in with using lions, tigers, and even dogs. You got a 1 in 11 million chance of getting attacked by a black bear if you're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Off-leash dogs, that's the #1 reason.
Yep.
And because the bear is going to defend itself if something goes at it.
Yeah.
And then when the bear goes at it, the dogs typically run back to the owners. Therefore, that's usually any kind of bear-human aggression going on. But typically, the black bear, the noisier it is, the more it's huffing, puffing, grabbing that tree, stomping the ground, the less dangerous it is, because it's communicating. And it's just us that need to listen.
Yeah. How can we learn to live with bears safely and humanely? From, you know, keeping our home safe, the bears safe in our yard, our animals, our farm animals.
I mean, obviously, you know, make sure there's not a bear outside if you're going to just let your dog out. That's the #1 reason for any bear aggression. But people need to understand, no feeding bears, you know. Only have bird seed out during the winter, you know, where you're most likely not going to see a bear. You don't want to bring these bears in to too much of the neighborhoods. Secure your trash. That's the biggest one right there. Asheville is so bad for people not securing their trash. And that happens everywhere too. Have your grill clean. Don't feed cats and dogs out on the porch. I've seen incidences of that, you know, because they're looking for the easiest meal. Bears are lazy. You know, that's why I like them. You know, they're lazy, they go for the easiest meal, and they like to eat. That sounds like me. And sleep through the winter. You know, but there's so many. If you need to scare one off, there's so many ways. I use an empty water bottle sometimes. I have air horns. I even have something that makes a taser sound. There's so many ways. Pots and pans. There's so many ways.
So here's a question. I recently adopted some chickens, and they're outside animals.
Right.
How do I keep them safe from the bears? Are the bears just going to come barreling out?
You better, if you got chickens, you better worry about the foxes and the coyotes.
That too.
Not the bears.
So they're not going to come
Again.
barreling out of the woods and eat my chickens?
No. I'm not saying a bear hasn't ever gone after a chicken.
Yeah.
But quite typically, again, they're going for easy meals. They're not. I mean, did you ever see Rocky try to chase a chicken? I mean, have you ever tried to catch one? I mean, they're going to go after the eggs and the chicken feed you got stored in there. So have that up, keep your eggs up. That's the thing. They love eggs. I mean, I've sat here and watched them so daintily crack a chicken egg and then slurp it up. They're so gentle with it. It's crazy. They have 5 fingers just like we do. You know, that's how you can tell their tracks. And, you know, everything else has 4 or less. Bears have 5. But yeah, they used to get in some people's chicken pens I knew, and they were always going for the eggs or the feed. And once you remove those attractants, the bear learns it's no longer there, and it'll go on.
Okay.
But they're not just going to bum rush. They don't bum rush out of the woods and go attack chickens.
It's a good question.
I mean, but just when I say that, one will do it, you know. But no, I mean, it'd have to be so starving and the right scenario where it could get hold of a chicken.
Programs such as Bearwise, are those good?
Yes, they are.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, 100%. Bear-wise, they're telling you to do the exact right things. Remove attractants, you know. Don't approach a bear, you know. Don't run. Stand up and act bigger, you know, if you need to scare one off. But you know, when bears get too close to me here, up on my porch, you know, because I don't want to humanize them, I just stand up and say, go! You know,
And they listen to
my old country accent comes out, and I'm like, go on, get on out of here. And they go.